Sarah Jenkins stood at the front of the classroom, her heart pounding like a jackhammer on steroids. She glanced around at her alien classmates, their various appendages, tentacles, and eye stalks all focused intently on her. Some looked bored, others curious, and a few seemed downright terrified. Sarah couldn't blame them. After all, she was the only human Deathworlder in the entire Galactic University of Xenobiology. "All right, class," Professor Zlorbax announced, his gelatinous form jiggling with each syllable. "Today we have a special treat. Our resident Deathworlder, Sarah Jenkins, will be presenting on the ecology of her home planet, Earth. Sarah, the floor is yours. Try not to, kill anyone with your presentation." He chuckled nervously, his laughter sounding like a wet balloon being slowly deflated. Sarah rolled her eyes. "Great start, Prof. Way to set the mood." She cleared her throat and tapped her datapad, bringing up the first holographic image of Earth. A collective gasp rippled through the classroom, followed by what Sarah could only assume was the alien equivalent of muttering, "Oh shit," in about 15 different languages. "So this is Earth," Sarah began, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "You know, that cute little death trap in the Milky Way that somehow managed to produce a sentient species. Surprise, surprise, it's us." A Vraxian student in the front row fainted, its spindly legs folding underneath its body like a collapsible lawn chair. Sarah continued, undeterred. "Now I know what you're all thinking. How could anything survive on such a hellish planet? Well, buckle up, buttercups, because you're in for a wild ride." She flicked to the next slide, showcasing Earth's varied climates. "See, Earth likes to keep things interesting. We've got everything from scorching deserts to frozen tundras, with a healthy dose of hurricanes, tornadoes, and earthquakes thrown in for good measure. It's like Mother Nature's own twisted amusement park, and we're all just along for the ride." A gizg tick raised one of its eye stalks. "Excuse me, Sarah. Are you saying your species willingly resides in areas prone to such catastrophic events?" Sarah grinned. "Oh, absolutely. In fact, we've turned it into a sport. We call it extreme weather chasing. Nothing gets the old adrenaline pumping like trying to outroot a tornado in a beat-up pickup truck." The class erupted in a cacophony of shocked clicks, whistles, and what sounded suspiciously like prayer. "But wait, there's more," Sarah exclaimed, channeling her inner infomercial host. "Let's talk about our lovely flora and fauna, shall we?" The next hologram displayed a lush rainforest teeming with life. Sarah's classmates leaned in, momentarily captivated by the beauty. Hook, line, and sinker, Sarah thought. This here is what we call a rainforest. Gorgeous, isn't it? Well, don't let its beauty fool you. It's basically nature's version of a death metal mosh pit. She zoomed in on various plants and animals, her voice taking on the quality of a slightly unhinged tour guide. "See this cute little frog? One touch, and you're paralyzed faster than you can say ribbit. Oh, and this lovely flower. It'll melt your face off quicker than you can Instagram it. And don't even get me started on the insects. They're basically miniature Deathworlders with more legs and a worse attitude." A Sarlaxian student raised a tentacle. "But surely, Sarah, your kind avoids such perilous environments." Sarah burst out laughing, the sound echoing off the classroom walls like a maniac's cackle in an asylum. "Avoid them? Oh, you sweet summer child. We vacation there. We've got luxury resorts smack dab in the middle of these death traps. Nothing says relaxation like the constant threat of being eaten by a jaguar while sipping on a pina colada. Am I right?" The Sarlaxian slowly lowered its tentacle, looking like it deeply regretted its life choices. "Now let's move on to some of Earth's more interesting inhabitants," Sarah continued, her grin widening to almost Cheshire cat proportions. The hologram shifted to display various predators: lions, tigers, bears, sharks, and more. These are just a few examples of what we lovingly call apex predators. They're at the top of the food chain, and guess what? We compete with them for that spot. A Blarxian in the back of the class chittered nervously. "Surely you mean you avoid these creatures at all costs?" Sarah's laughter this time was tinged with a hint of madness. "Oh, honey, no, we keep them as pets. Well, not these exact ones, but they're slightly less murderous cousins. We've got dogs, which are descendants of wolves, and cats, which are basically miniature versions of those big cats you see there. And let me tell you, sometimes I think the domesticated ones are even more dangerous. Ever tried to give a cat a bath? It's like wrestling a furry buzzsaw with claws and a bad attitude." The entire class shifted uncomfortably in their seats, their various appendages wrapping around themselves as if for protection. "But wait," Sarah exclaimed, her voice pitched with mock excitement. "We haven't even gotten to the best part yet. Let's talk about our oceans." The hologram shifted to show Earth's vast oceans teeming with life. Several students visibly relaxed, clearly thinking they were finally going to see something less terrifying. Sarah's grin turned positively diabolical. Ah, the ocean. Covering about 71% of Earth's surface, home to countless species, and proof that nature has a twisted sense of humor. You see, we humans looked at this vast, unexplored frontier filled with creatures straight out of your worst nightmares and thought, hey, let's go for a swim. She zoomed in on various ocean predators, great white sharks, giant squids, box jellyfish, and more. With each new horror, the class seemed to shrink further into their seats. This beauty right here, Sarah said, pointing to the great white shark, is what we call the perfect killing machine. Rows of razor-sharp teeth, an incredible sense of smell for blood, and a penchant for anything that moves. Naturally, we decided the best way to study it was to lower ourselves into the water in flimsy metal cages. You know, for science. A plorboid student raised a pseudopod. Excuse me, Sarah, but that seems incredibly reckless and dangerous. Surely your scientists have developed safer methods of study. Sarah's laugh was bordering on hysterical now. Oh, my sweet naive friend, that is the safer method. You should see what we do for fun. We have something called surfing, where we balance on a piece of fiberglass and ride waves in shark-infested waters. And let's not forget scuba diving, where we willingly plunge into the depths with nothing but a tank of air and a prayer. The plorboid's pseudopod slowly melted back into its body, a look of utter disbelief plastered across its gelatinous features. But hey, sharks are just the tip of the iceberg, Sarah continued, her eyes glinting with mischief. Let me introduce you to some of our other aquatic friends. This little cutie, she pointed to a tiny blue-ringed octopus, packs enough venom to kill 26 adult humans in minutes. And this seemingly innocent jellyfish, its sting is so painful that many victims have begged to be killed rather than endure the agony. Fun fact, it's also nearly invisible in the water. Swimming in Australia is like playing a game of Russian roulette, except all the chambers are loaded, and the gun is on fire. The class was now a symphony of distressed noises, ranging from high-pitched keening to low, mournful moans. Oh, come on, guys, Sarah exclaimed, her voice a mixture of laughter and exasperation. It's not all bad. We've got plenty of harmless sea creatures, too. Okay, you know what? Moving on. She tapped her datapad again, and the hologram shifted to show various extreme sports and activities. Now you might be thinking, surely living on such a dangerous planet has made humans cautious and risk-averse. And to that I say, allow me to introduce you to the concept of extreme sports. The images cycled through various activities: skydiving, bungee jumping, free solo climbing, and wingsuit flying. With each new image, the alien students' reactions ranged from disbelief to outright horror. You see, we humans have this funny little quirk, Sarah explained, her tone suggesting it was anything but funny. We get bored easily. So naturally, we decided that simply surviving on our death planet wasn't quite exciting enough. We had to up the ante. She pointed to an image of a person leaping off a cliff with a wingsuit. This lovely activity is called wingsuit flying. Basically, you put on a suit that makes you look like a flying squirrel on steroids, jump off a perfectly good cliff or airplane, and pray to whatever deity you believe in that you don't become a human pancake on the side of a mountain. A Xenobiology student, its eye stalks quivering, managed to stammer out a question. But why? What possible benefit could such a dangerous activity provide? Sarah's grin was practically splitting her face at this point. For fun, of course. And bragging rights. Nothing says I'm a badass quite like defying death for no good reason. The Xenobians' eye stalks drooped in defeat, clearly giving up on understanding human logic. And let's not forget about our sports, Sarah continued, her enthusiasm reaching fever pitch. We've got football, where we essentially engage in ritualized warfare for the entertainment of millions. Rugby, which is like football but with less protection and more broken bones. And hockey, where we strap knives to our feet, arm ourselves with clubs, and fight over a small disc of vulcanized rubber on a sheet of ice. You know, for funsies. The class was now a mix of horrified fascination and utter disbelief. Sarah could practically see the gears turning in their alien brains, trying to comprehend the insanity that was human recreation. But wait, there's more, Sarah exclaimed, channeling her inner infomercial host once again. Let's talk about our lovely weather, shall we? The hologram shifted to show various extreme weather phenomena: hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, and more. The alien students, who had just begun to regain some composure, immediately tensed up again. Now, I know what you're thinking, Sarah said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Surely humans avoid areas prone to such devastating natural disasters. And to that I say, nah, we build cities there. She pointed to an image of Miami. This is Miami, a lovely coastal city in a region called Florida. It's basically a hurricane magnet. Every year, these massive storms roll in, threatening to wipe the city off the map. And what do? We throw hurricane parties. A collective gasp rippled through the classroom. Oh yes, Sarah continued, her grin widening. We stock up on booze, board up our windows, and treat it like a fun little staycation. Nothing says quality family time quite like huddling in the bathroom while 150 nymph winds try to redecorate your house. Am I right? She flicked to the next image, showing the American Midwest. And this lovely region is what we call Tornado Alley. It's like nature decided to install a giant blender right in the middle of our country. But don't worry, we've turned it into a spectator sport. Sarah's voice took on the quality of a sports announcer. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. It's time for another round of Chase the Swirling Vortex of Death. Will our intrepid storm chasers get the perfect shot, or will they become airborne lawn ornaments? Stay tuned to find out. The alien students were now a mix of horrified and fascinated, their various appendages and sensory organs twitching with a combination of fear and morbid curiosity. But hey, it's not all bad, Sarah said, her tone suddenly switching to mock reassurance. We've also got lovely phenomena like blizzards, where Mother Nature decides to bury entire cities under several feet of snow. And what do? We strap planks to our feet and slide down mountains at breakneck speeds. We call it skiing, and it's a lovely way to combine frostbite, potential avalanches, and the very real possibility of wrapping yourself around a tree. A Floribonian student, its gelatinous form quivering, managed to raise a pseudopod. Excuse me, Sarah, but it seems that your species has a unique relationship with danger. Is this a recent development, perhaps a result of advanced technology minimizing natural threats? Sarah's laughter echoed through the classroom, a sound that was equal parts amused and slightly unhinged. Oh, my dear Floribonian friend, if only. No, this is pretty much how we've always been. In fact, let me take you on a little journey through human history. It's a tale of stubborn survival, questionable decisions, and a species that just refuses to take a hint. The hologram shifted to show early human ancestors on the African savanna. This is where it all began. Picture this, a group of primates decides, you know what? Trees are overrated. Let's try walking on two legs out in the open where all the predators can see us better. Rishi pointed to a saber-toothed cat in the background. See that kitty? It's basically a tiger with steak knives for teeth. So what did we do? We looked at it and thought, I bet we can take it. The class erupted in a chorus of disbelieving chirps, clicks, and whistles. Oh, but it gets better, Sarah continued, her grin widening. Fast forward a bit, and we figured out this nifty thing called fire. Most animals run away from the burning death stick. As we're like, cool, let's cook with it, use it for light, and maybe accidentally burn down a forest or two while we're at it. The hologram shifted again, showing early human migrations. Now, you'd think that after nearly being eaten by every predator on the African continent, we'd stay put. But no. We looked at the vast, unknown world full of new and exciting ways to die and said, road trip. Sarah's voice took on the quality of an overly enthusiastic tour guide. Come one, come all. Join the human migration tour. Visit exotic locations. Freeze in Siberia. Get lost at sea. Stumble into volcanic eruptions. Why stay in one deadly location when you can experience them all? The alien students were now a mix of horrified fascination and utter disbelief. A Shorthian student, its crystalline structure vibrating with confusion, managed to ask, but surely as your species developed intelligence and technology, you became more cautious. Sarah's laugh was bordering on maniacal now. Oh, you sweet summer child. Let me introduce you to a little thing we call the Age of Exploration. The hologram shifted to show various historical explorers and their ships. Picture this, we finally figured out how to build boats that probably won't sink immediately. So naturally, we decide to sail off the edge of our known world. Why? Because the spice must flow, baby. She pointed to an image of Christopher Columbus. This guy, he convinced a bunch of people to sail across an ocean on what were essentially floating bathtubs with sails. Their navigational technology. A pointy rock tied to a string and a whole lot of misplaced confidence. The class was now a symphony of distressed noises, ranging from high-pitched keening to low, mournful moans. But wait, there's more. Sarah exclaimed, her enthusiasm reaching fever pitch. Let's talk about the culinary adventures of humanity. The hologram shifted to show various foods and cooking methods from around the world. The alien students leaned in, momentarily captivated by the colorful display. Sarah's grin turned positively diabolical. Now you might think that after surviving predators, natural disasters, and our own exploration shenanigans, we'd play it safe with our food. But no, we decided to turn our culinary adventures into an extreme sport. She pointed to an image of fugu, the infamous pufferfish delicacy. See this cute little guy? It's packed with enough tetrodotoxin to kill 30 humans. Naturally, we decided it would make a great snack. The chef needs a special license to prepare it. And one wrong cut means dinner comes with a side of paralysis and death. Yum. A Gizik tick student raised a trembling appendage. Surely this is an isolated incident of culinary madness. Sarah's laughter echoed through the classroom. Oh, my sweet summer child, we're just getting started. Let me introduce you to the concept of spicy food. The hologram shifted to show various chili peppers. These little guys contain a chemical called capsaicin. It literally triggers our pain receptors. And what do? We breed them to be even spicier. We have eating contests to see who can tolerate the most pain. Because nothing says fine dining quite like feeling like you gargle lava. Am I right? The alien students shifted uncomfortably, their various digestive organs churning in sympathy. But wait, there's more. Sarah exclaimed, her voice pitched with mock excitement. Let's talk about cheese. See. The hologram displayed various types of cheese, including some particularly pungent varieties. So we discovered that leaving milk to rot in very specific ways could produce something edible. And then we thought, you know what would make this better? If we introduced maggots to it. She pointed to an image of Kasumarzu, the infamous Sardinian maggot cheese. This delicacy is literally alive with insect larvae. It's considered unsafe to eat when the maggots have died. Oh, and did I mention they can jump up to 6 inches when disturbed? It's like a party in your mouth and everyone's trying to escape. The class erupted in a cacophony of disgusted noises, ranging from retching sounds to what Sarah could only assume was the alien equivalent of "oh hell, no" in about 20 different languages. But hey, let's not forget about our drinks. Sarah continued, her enthusiasm undiminished. We humans love our beverages, especially the ones that can potentially kill us or make us do incredibly stupid things. The hologram shifted to show various alcoholic beverages. This, my friends, is alcohol. It's basically poison that makes you feel funny. We've been drinking it for thousands of years, despite the fact that it impairs our judgment, slows our reflexes, and can lead to some truly spectacular bad decisions. But don't worry, we've turned drinking it into a social activity and even a competitive sport. She pointed to an image of a beer pong tournament. Here we have a time-honored college tradition. The goal is to throw a small ball into cups of beer, forcing your opponent to drink. Last one standing wins. Well, standing might be a bit optimistic. Last one not hugging the toilet is probably more accurate. A Sarlaxian student, its tentacles curled tightly around itself, managed to ask, but surely your medical professionals advise against such dangerous consumption habits. Sarah's laugh was bordering on hysterical now. Oh, you sweet naive tentacle baby. Our medical professionals are some of the biggest adrenaline junkies of all. Let me introduce you to the wonderful world of human medicine. The hologram shifted to show various medical procedures throughout history. Picture this, it's the Middle Ages and you've got a headache, the doctor's prescription. Let's drill a hole in your skull to let the evil spirits out. Got a fever? Time for some good old-fashioned bloodletting. And don't even get me started on the cures for hysteria. Let's just say they were shocking. The alien students were now a mix of horrified and fascinated, their various appendages and sensory organs twitching with a combination of fear and morbid curiosity. But surely a Blorkshin chittered nervously. With your advanced technology, modern medicine is less terrifying. Sarah's grin widened to almost impossible proportions. Oh, my dear Blorkshin, you've no idea. Let me introduce you to concept of modern surgery. The hologram displayed an operating room. Imagine this, you're sick, so you willingly allow someone to knock you unconscious with drugs, cut you open with sharp objects, rummage around in your insides, and then sew you back up. And the best part, you pay them for the privilege. She pointed to various surgical instruments. See this? It's basically a fancy power drill, perfect for when your surgeon decides to channel their inner handyman. And this little guy, it's a rib spreader, because nothing says healing quite like having your chest cracked open like a stubborn walnut. The class was now a symphony of distressed noises, ranging from high-pitched keening to low, mournful moans. But wait, there's more. Sarah exclaimed, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Let's talk about our lovely pharmaceutical industry. The hologram shifted to show various medications. Here's the deal, we've developed these amazing drugs that can cure diseases, alleviate symptoms, and generally make our lives better. The catch: the side effects might include nausea, dizziness, headaches, heart palpitations, sudden death, or the irresistible urge to tango with your refrigerator at 3 a.m. She pointed to a particular medication. This one, it's for treating depression. Possible side effects include increased risk of suicide, I swear I'm not making this up. It's like playing Russian roulette, but with your neurotransmitters. The alien students were now in various states of distress, some hiding behind their appendages, others seemingly frozen in shock. Now, I know what you're thinking, Sarah continued, her tone mockingly reassuring. Surely, with all these dangers, humans must have developed incredible safety measures and a cautious approach to life. And to that, I say, have you been paying attention at all? The hologram shifted once more, this time showing various extreme sports and daredevil stunts. Ladies, gentlemen, and assorted alien life forms, I present to you humanity's approach to safety. She pointed to an image of a person bungee jumping. This is what we call calculated risk. And by calculated, I mean someone probably did some math at some point, probably after a few beers. The hologram cycled through more images: wingsuit flying, free solo climbing, bull running in Pamplona. With each new image, the alien students' reactions ranged from disbelief to outright horror. You see, Sarah explained, her voice taking on the quality of a slightly unhinged motivational speaker. We humans have this funny little quirk. We look at something incredibly dangerous and think, I bet I could do that. It's like we've collectively decided that simply surviving on our death planet isn't quite exciting enough. We had to up the ante. She pointed to an image of Alex Honnold, free soloing El Capitan. This guy. He looked at a 3,000-foot vertical face and thought, we know what would make this more interesting. If I climbed it without any ropes or safety gear, because apparently the threat of becoming a human pancake is just the spice of life we all need. A Xenobiology student, its eye stalks quivering, managed to stammer out a question. But why? What possible benefit could such dangerous activities provide? Sarah's grin was practically splitting her face at this point. For fun, of course. And bragging rights. Nothing says I'm a badass quite like defying death for no good reason. It's like we're all collectively shouting at the universe, you can't kill me if I kill myself first. It's a unique approach to existential dread. The Xenobians' eye stalks drooped in defeat, clearly giving up on understanding human logic. But hey, Sarah continued, her tone suddenly switching to mock reassurance, it's not all death-defying stunts and mortal peril. Sometimes we like to relax and unwind. Let me introduce you to the concept of human entertainment. The hologram shifted to show various forms of media: movies, video games, books. The alien students leaned in, perhaps hoping for a reprieve from the parade of human insanity. Sarah's laugh quickly dashed those hopes. Oh, you sweet summer children. You thought our entertainment would be safe. Allow me to introduce you to the wonderful world of horror. The hologram displayed scenes from various horror movies and games. You see, we humans have this delightful habit of taking all the things that could kill us: monsters, serial killers, ghosts, eldritch abominations from beyond the stars, and turning them into entertainment. Nothing says relaxing evening quite like watching a masked lunatic chase teenagers around with a chainsaw. Am I right? She pointed to an image of a roller coaster. And when virtual terror isn't enough, we build massive structures of metal and plastic, strap ourselves in, and hurtle through the air at ridiculous speeds. We call it a thrill ride because apparently the threat of death is thrilling. It's like we're trying to speedrun our way back to natural selection. The class was now a mix of horrified fascination and utter disbelief. Sarah could practically see the gears turning in their alien brains, trying to comprehend the insanity that was human recreation. But wait, Sarah exclaimed, her voice pitched with mock excitement. We haven't even gotten to the best part yet. Talk about how we humans prepare for the future. The hologram shifted to show various human attempts at predicting and preparing for disasters. Now, you might think that living on such a dangerous planet would make us cautious and well-prepared, and you'd be partially right. We do prepare, just not always in the most logical ways. She pointed to an image of a doomsday bunker. See this? It's a bunker for surviving the apocalypse. Because nothing says optimism quite like preparing to live underground for years while the world burns above you. But don't worry, we've stocked it with all the essentials: canned food, water, and enough toilet paper to mummify a small country. The hologram shifted to show various conspiracy theorists and their ideas. And then we have these lovely folks. They look at all the very real dangers on our planet and think, nah, not scary enough. Let's invent some new ones. Flat Earth, secret lizard people running the government, vaccines that turn you into a 5G tower. We've got it all, folks. A plorboid student raised a pseudopod. Excuse me, Sarah, but this seems incredibly counterproductive. But surely your species focuses on real tangible threats. Sarah's laugh was bordering on maniacal now. Oh, my sweet naive friend. Why focus on real threats when we can invent new ones? It's like we looked at all the ways our planet could kill us and thought, you know what this needs? More spice. By spice. She flicked to the next image, showing climate change protests alongside climate change deniers. Here's a fun one. Our planet is undergoing significant climate changes that could radically alter life as we know it. Our response? Argue about whether it's happening at all. Because nothing says problem solving quite like debating the existence of the problem while it's actively trying to kill you. The alien students were now in various states of distress, some hiding behind their appendages, others seemingly frozen in shock. But don't worry, Sarah continued, her tone mockingly reassuring, we've got it all under control. We're preparing for every possibility. Zombie apocalypse, we've got plans for that. Alien invasion, we've made so many movies about it, we're practically experts. Robot uprising, please, we're actively working on making that a reality. It's like we're trying to speedrun our own extinction event, which she pointed to an image of a scientist working on AI. See this? We're creating artificial intelligences that could potentially surpass us in every way, because apparently being at the top of the food chain on a death planet wasn't exciting enough. We needed to create our own potential overlords. It's like we're playing chess with evolution, except all the pieces are on fire, and the board is balanced on the edge of a cliff. The class was now a symphony of distressed noises, ranging from high-pitched keening to low, mournful moans. But hey, Sarah said, her grin widening to almost impossible proportions, that's just life on Earth for you. A non-stop thrill ride of danger, disaster, and questionable decision-making. And you know what? We wouldn't have it any other way. She turned to Professor Zorbax, who had spent the entire presentation slowly melting into a puddle of gelatinous terror. So, Prof, how'd I do? Did I accurately represent life on Earth? Professor Zorbax managed to reform enough of himself to respond, his voice a quivering whisper. Mims, Jenkins, I think we're going to need to reclassify Earth from Deathworld to oh sweet merciful cosmos, how art they still a live world. Sarah beamed. I'll take that as a compliment. Now, any questions? Don't be shy. I promise I don't bite much. The classroom erupted into chaos. Some students were frantically scribbling notes, others were in various stages of existential crisis, and a few seemed to be seriously contemplating a career change to literally anything that didn't involve interacting with humans. As Sarah stood there, basking in the glorious chaos she had unleashed, she couldn't help but think. And to think I didn't even get to the part about our mating rituals. Maybe I'll save that for the final exam. After all, nothing says human quite like a little sadistic surprise. And with that thought, Sarah Jenkins, lone human in a sea of aliens, smiled. It was going to be one hell of a semester. As the chaos in the classroom slowly subsided, Professor Zorbax managed to regain some semblance of composure. He cleared his throat, or whatever passed for a throat in his gelatinous form, and addressed the class. Well, that was certainly illuminating, Ms. Jenkins. I believe we all have a new appreciation for the unique challenges of Earth's ecology. His voice quivered slightly as he continued. Class dismissed. Please remember to submit your reaction papers by next week, and perhaps consider some light meditation or therapy to process what we've learned today. As the alien students filed out of the classroom, some still in shock, others excitedly chattering about the presentation, Sarah packed up her things. A satisfied grin still plastered across her face. Professor Zorbax oozed over to her desk. Miss Jenkins, a word if you please. Sarah looked up, her expression a perfect blend of innocence and mischief. Yes, Professor? While your presentation was comprehensive, I can't help but feel you may have, shall we say, emphasized the more extreme aspects of Earth's ecology and human behavior. Sarah's grin widened. With all due respect, Professor, I think I might have undersold it a bit. Didn't even get to our mating rituals or political systems. The professor's gelatinous form shuddered visibly. Perhaps it's best we save those topics for never. Never. Yes, never sounds good. He paused, then added, however, I must commend you on your presentation skills. You certainly kept the class engaged. Thanks, Professor, Sarah replied, shouldering her bag. So, same time next week? I was thinking of doing a deep dive into human sports. Wait until they hear about ice hockey. Professor Zorbax made a sound that could have been a sigh, if sighing involved liquefying slightly. I look forward to it with a mixture of academic curiosity and existential dread. Good day, Ms. Jenkins. As Sarah walked out of the classroom, she couldn't help but chuckle. Being the only human in a galactic university had its challenges, but days like this, they made it all worthwhile. She headed towards the cafeteria, wondering idly if she could convince the kitchen staff to add some spice to the bland, universally edible food they usually served. After all, what was life without a little danger to spice things up? Just another day in the life of a Deathworlder, she thought. and the universe suddenly seemed a little brighter, a little more exciting, and a whole lot more fun.